This is remarkable.
Well, it is remarkable. A lot of work went into it, but the thing that makes it work is all of these vendors wanted to come and be here because they know that the rebuilding of the Gulf Coast is going to be monumental.
When you drive up and down Highway 90 like I've been doing for the last, and you have too, you see a lot of slabs out there, but you think, come on, let's go.
Yeah. We're cleaned up. We're about 99% of the debris has been cleaned up. Money has started to flow. We've received close to $15 billion of insurance payments and equivalents like SBA loans. And just in the last few days, the state homeowner grant program money has started flowing. In fact, I've had 3 people come to me today and say, I got my check in the last couple of days. And we hope almost all that money will be put out during the month of August. It's going, as always, like everything else, it goes a little slower than I want.
Yeah.
But I think by early September, we will have put out $1.5 billion or so of that money. So people are going to have money in their hands. They're going to be ready to go forward. And Leland Speed's right. Now is the time to really put pedal to the metal. And it's going to be homeowners, but it's also, as you can see, big employers like the casinos. The people that are small business people are coming back, and we need all that. Never forget, at the end of the day, the private sector is what's going to rebuild the coast.
Right, and it's going to be little people.
That's right. The homes, of course, we have to rebuild 70,000 homes. That is an enormous thing, and we've never built more than 2,800 homes in the 3 counties on the Gulf Coast in any one year. 2,800, and we got to rebuild 70,000. But I am convinced that we can get it done in 5 or 6 years. Now that's a long, long time, which is why we're working so hard with the federal government to replace the travel trailer as the solution for temporary housing, because a lot of this housing isn't that temporary.
Right.
We also have to get a lot of labor housing built, probably in the form of rental housing. And then we need rental housing for people who are renters before the storm. You know, Mississippi has a very high incidence of home ownership. About 79% of the people in Mississippi own their own home, which is about 10 points over the national average. But the coast has one of the lower levels of home ownership, only about 60% of people on the coast. So there are a lot of renters down here. And so rebuilding multifamily and that sort of stuff for rental purposes is another important thing.
What's the news today?
Well, there's a lot going on here, and it's a good crowd, and the public is very interested. It's not just vendors and builders and developers. But I was able to announce today, as well as the opening of the Recovery Expo, that the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development has approved Mississippi's plan to use $410 million of our Community Development Block Grant money to prevent our ratepayers from get hit with huge increases in electricity rates or homeowners insurance rates. I had announced a few weeks ago that I wanted to take $50 million of CDBG money and use it to subsidize homeowners insurance, wind insurance rates here in what's called the velocity zone. We have what's called the wind pool, as we commonly know it, to use $30 million to subsidize the cost of the wind pool buying reinsurance this year and another 20 next year. HUD has approved that. And they have also approved our paying $360 million for the restoration and rebuilding of electric transmission, distribution, and generation facilities. Otherwise, under Mississippi law, that $360 million would automatically get added to our utility rates. So this saves, we call it ratepayer mitigation. It means that homeowners won't get hit with an even bigger rate increase for insurance, and they won't get hit with an even bigger rate increase for electricity rates.
I told you I've spent a couple of days driving around down here because I wanted to go places I hadn't been before. I was in Pearlington yesterday. It's heartbreaking in Pearlington. Out here, there's a lot of slabs, but they've still got a long way to go there.
Pearlington is, of course, the farthest most community that was hit by almost literally the eye of the storm. And if you come down here, you'll see the further east you go, the farther they are in redevelopment and rebuilding and sort of getting things back to normal, though there's nowhere on the coast that things are back to normal. But the farther east you go, the farther north you go. Even in a community like, say, Gulfport, the further north you go, people are much further along. But a lot of Hancock County, particularly southern Hancock County, is just really starting to finish recovery and is not very far into rebuilding. even in the western part of Harrison County, like past Christiane, there's still, these are the places that got hit the hardest, and it takes them longer. But they've made a tremendous amount of progress.
But it's a year.
Well, but it will be years. And one of the things that to me has been so spectacular is the perseverance. A lot of these people, Gene, are living in what we would just call depravity. I mean, and they don't have these are deprived conditions. They're living in a little travel trailer. Don't confuse that with a mobile home. What we're talking about is a camper.
It's tiny.
It's just
a tin can.
Yeah. And
they call them condominiums.
Yeah. Well, they're living in conditions that are just so deprived compared to what they're used to. And yet they toughen out, and their kids go to school in temporary buildings, and they're working half of the time to rebuild. And these are strong people, but we still got a tall mountain ahead of us. And thank goodness for their perseverance and for their strength and tenacity. And I think it comes from their love of the coast. This is where they want to be. This is home. This is where they want their kids to get to grow up. It's where they want to stay. So they put up with being deprived of the kinds of things that we're just used to because they think it's worth it to be at home.
You're a little different guy than you were a year ago.
I don't think there's no question about that. Just what we've been through. And I've had some pretty good jobs in my life, and I'm proud of what I've had a chance to do, and God's been great to me. But I've never had a job where it seemed like so many people were depending on me, where it felt like I had to be the one to get something done, that people were relying on me. And that's a big burden, and I'm, that comes with the job.
Thanks, Governor.
Thank you.